Welcome back to Cam FM. This is Kim Bates, and I've got Frank Turner on the line. Hi, Frank.
Hi there, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm very busy getting ready for the album release.
And you've also got your tour coming up, haven't you?
Yes, tour starts tomorrow in Manchester, UK tour, all sold out, which is very exciting. And yeah, it's good to be back on home soil.
And which city are you most looking forward to playing?
Now, you see, if I now go and pick one, then everybody's going to get annoyed. I have to say, I think it's probably Manchester, actually. Manchester gigs are always off the hook, so I'm looking forward to that one. But I'm looking forward to all of them.
Yes, of course. Well, I'll be seeing you at the London date. I've
Right.
got a couple of tickets to go and see you then.
Excellent.
Okay, so your upcoming album is Tape Deck Heart, and how does this differ from your previous albums?
Well, on a musical level, I mean, hopefully it's a step forward in development. I mean, for whatever that means. But I like to think that I'm sort of getting better at what I do with age and with practice. So yeah, I think it's a slightly kind of bigger sounding record than before, a slightly warmer sounding record. Lyrically, it's very different from the previous album, which was a record about England and about mortality and all that kind of thing. And it was a slightly kind of grandiose themes. And this time around, I've sort of gone for something different. It's very personal, very raw, exposed kind of record. And yeah, I mean, partly things happening in my personal life led to that, but I just wanted to write something that was sort of more personal, more sort of inward looking than the last time out.
Yeah. What's your favourite song off of the upcoming album?
Oh, again, picking an individual song seems like a terrible thing to do. But off the top of my head, the last track on the record is called Broken Piano, and I really, really love that song. And it's kind of a different vibe for me, songwriting wise. You know, it sort of goes somewhere new for me personally, and it wraps up the record very well, I think. And the lyrics are my favourite set of lyrics on the record.
Okay, describe Tape Deck Heart in 3 words.
3 words. My new album.
That's fair enough.
That's a total cop out, I know. But
yeah.
I mean, the thing, in all seriousness, though, I mean, I know that I've just talked about the record for a while, and that's what I have to do right now, and all that kind of thing. But I do feel that I'm kind of way too close to the record myself to have any kind of objectivity about it. Right now, particularly right now, given that I've finished it quite recently. So I feel like you should ask other people for 3 words about it.
Okay. So where does your passion for music actually come from?
You know, who knows? I mean, who knows? It's when I was a kid, I kind of there was music around my house and stuff, but it wasn't sort of my obsession until I heard kind of rock and roll records for the first time when I was about 10 years old. In fact, it was actually Iron Maiden that got me heavily into music, and I just kind of you know, made me feel like I've been set on fire in a way that nothing else has ever really done before or since, you know. And ever since then, it's been the central obsession of my life.
Yeah. So you started out doing post-hardcore punk, didn't you?
Yeah, so something in the middle of all of that, yeah.
Yeah, so what does punk actually mean to you?
Well, okay, the first thing to say is that everybody's got a different definition of punk, and that a very un-punk thing to do is to settle on one definition. But for me, I mean, it means, these days, it means 2 things. It means a sort of ethos, you know, an ethic driving forward that I still feel kind of animates what I do, even if the music I make isn't strictly all that punk anymore. You know, I still think about things. I ask myself, what would Henry Rollins do the whole time? He's one of my punk rock heroes, you know. So that's part of it, but it's kind of a community thing as well. Do you know what I mean? And like particularly in the States, actually, where it's kind of it's a bit more kind of familial. It's just, you know, if you find yourself in a diner at 3 o'clock in the morning and somebody else wearing kind of a hot water music hoodie and black jeans and they've got finger tattoos, then it's like we're on the same team. We're in part of the same tribe. You know, we've got something to talk about.
Okay. Now, the music industry is in quite a transitional period at the moment. So how do musicians see roles changing, and how have they changed? And what do you think your future holds within that?
Well, okay, the music industry is definitely changing a lot at the moment. But I think the thing for me, I have a million opinions, could hold forth for hours on the specifics of the kind of economics and business side of things and all that kind of thing. I think it's important to remember, though, that the main thing is that we're changing a business model which is of secondary importance to what really matters, which is the music. You know, as long as there's good music getting made, that's the thing that matters. And if we need to figure out a new way of kind of building an economy around it that enables people to do it, and people to have the sort of freedom to spend time working on music, then we'll do that. But like I say, despite everything that's happened in the last kind of decade or so in the music industry, there's still a lot of great music coming out, a lot of great records, a lot of great artists. So in the long run, I'm not overly concerned about it. I also think live music's really taken off, which has been great for me personally because I love touring. So that's really kind of worked for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't want to sit here and make predictions because you just end up looking like a prat if you do that. So who knows? But hopefully, I will continue to be able to make music for a living for a while yet.
Well, I saw you supporting Green Day back during their tour a few years ago. And
yes.
That was just you supporting. And now I'm going to be seeing you on your headline tour. Now, that's 3 years. And it seems like a lot can happen. So what could you advise to upcoming artists?
I think the main thing for people who are kind of starting out in bands and that kind of thing is just to be as proactive as possible, and to work yourself. I think this was always true, but particularly in the age of the internet, you can do so much stuff on your own, without before you get involved in kind of booking agents and managers and that kind of thing. Make a website, make a Facebook, Bandcamp, whatever, sort out shows. You can make friends with other bands in town, do gig swaps, make friends with promoters. There's just a million things that you could be doing. You can make your own music videos, you can put them on YouTube. The technology is so accessible and democratic these days, which I think is really good. So I think it's just a question of just work your hard stuff, and you can make so much stuff happen before you have to get involved with kind of any of the more sort of industry side of things.
Yeah, but why do you like playing small gigs while doing sort of headline tours?
I like playing all types of shows, I mean, I think in a way I feel more at home kind of in a small, sweaty club with the front row right up in my face, simply because I've just done way more gigs in that kind of context. At the same time, though, I mean, I feel quite strongly I'll play anywhere, really, and it's just nice that people want to see me play.
Okay. Now, as when people grow up, they have an idea of what they want to be, whether it be a fireman or a baker or a ballerina. But you've chosen the path of being a musician. Now, if you could never work as a musician again, what career path would you choose?
Interesting question. I mean, I think I'm something of a geek, and I think I'd probably be like a history teacher or something like that, or at least trying to be one. I don't want to make it sound like it's easy because it's not. But I'd probably be trying to do something like that.
Okay. Now, I have a rather silly question, but I think it does make you think quite a lot. But if you had to choose between having the voice of an 8-year-old or a parrot permanently on your shoulder who speaks your thoughts out loud, which one would you choose?
Voice of an 8-year-old, definitely.
Voice
the world
of an 8-year-old.
Really doesn't need to hear my thoughts being sung out the whole time. That would be disastrous. Yeah, voice of an 8-year-old.
See, a lot of people I've asked today have actually said a voice of an 8-year-old. But
yeah,
I mean,
I think the privacy of my mind is kind of important to me,
Yeah, of course. Now, some people have asked me, is punk really dead? So what's your opinion on that?
It's not for me personally. I mean, punk rock isn't what it was in 1977, and punk rock wasn't what it was in 1977 and 1978. Do you know what I mean? And it's evolved over time. It's changed its meaning and all the rest of it. But for me, punk rock as a scene and an ethos and as a style of music, it's been the whole of my existence since I was about 14 years old, and it still is. So no, it's not dead.
Okay. Now, would you ever want to go back to the days of Million Dead?
Not full time, no. I have a soft spot for kind of heavy, aggressive music. I actually have a side project on the go right now called Mongol Horde, which kind of scratches that itch for me. But it's not. First of all, it's not what I do all the time. I'm much happier making the music that I usually make, and also not specifically with Million Dead. I mean, with all due respect and love for the things that happened with that band, and the music we made, and all the rest of it, I'm not really interested in looking backwards.
Well, keep your eyes forward. That's all you can really do.
Exactly.
But why did you go down the folk route?
It just seemed like the right thing to do. Everybody thought I was completely out of my mind at the time. And it's funny, at the time, everyone thought I was nuts, and I thought, no, I knew exactly what I was doing. But now, looking back on it, everybody thinks that I knew what I was doing, and I think that I was completely nuts. Because it's sort of weird thinking about it now. But I think the main thing to say is just that I did what I considered to be the integral thing to do, which is closing my eyes and making the best music I could make, regardless of how it came out, you know?
Yeah.
And it would have been so much easier for me to just form another punk band or whatever after Millie and Dead broke up, and I didn't do that. And it wasn't the easiest route at the beginning. So yeah, I'm quite sort of almost proud of it in a way.
Well, that's really good. It's good to challenge yourself. I mean, you could have done something quite similar to Millie and Dead and just, as you said, have another punk band. But then would that have stretched you creatively? I mean, has folk actually stretched that's a different side of you?
I certainly. I try to stretch myself creatively and go in new places. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I've become a much better songwriter than I ever was before.
Oh, that's
I mean,
really
I still don't consider myself anywhere near my songwriting heroes, but better than I was before.
Okay, so you feel like you've progressed, even in the last 3 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's brilliant. You were born in Bahrain. That's
Yes.
just on the other side of the sea from Saudi Arabia. Now, I grew up in Saudi Arabia, so I do know Bahrain quite well. What's the story behind that?
It's unfortunately not very exciting. My dad was working out there for a short while, and I was born out there, but I left like a month later and have no memory of the place, I'm afraid.
All right, okay. It was just something I was curious about, that's all. So where can people find your music if they haven't heard you before?
There is, of course, a ton of stuff on the internet, frank-turner.com or Facebook or whatever. It's all out there and easy to find.
All you have to do is Google Frank Turner. It's all there at your fingertips.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you very much, Frank.
My pleasure.
All right, good luck.
All right, take it easy.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, this is Frank Turner, and you're listening to Cam FM.